Well, folks, we're visiting today with Stephanie Lawson. She owns Confetti and Lace here in West Virginia. Stephanie, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I look forward to learning more about your business and what you do.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, and Storymaker. With the help of these sponsors, we are able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one featured in today's episode.
So at Confetti and Lace, we offer premium tents. Right now we have 2 High Peak Festival tents. They have like that perfect aesthetic for like any event that our clients may need. Yeah. We also have tables and chairs, linens for the tables and chair slips. I dabble in balloons a little bit. I try to push that out to other event planners. And then I do signs. So I'm a little bit all over, but my focus is tents, tables, and chairs.
Yeah, so for parties and events outside.
Yep.
When you don't have the space, but you want to hold an event, call Stephanie at Confetti and Lace. There you go.
Yeah.
We're done. No, I'm just teasing you. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background before you get into Confetti and Lace. Tell us a little bit about where you're from. You're a West Virginia
yes, sir.
Resident, born and raised, Mon County, core West Virginia. Went to Clay Battelle High School.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you're at right now.
So when I was 21, I joined the military. I was active duty. I have one toured Iraq. I was stationed out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
In the Army?
Yes, in the Army.
Yeah.
And while I was in the Army, I was with the Air Defense Artillery Unit. And when I was deployed to Iraq, I had a really cool job, which was I got to transport low counter mortar radar detectors. Wow. And I got to set them up, carry them. They were super heavy. There was like 3 boxes, 350 pounds total.
Oh, my lands.
Traveling with them was a nightmare, but it was always exhilarating to get them to the post or cob, wherever I needed to be, and help set them up so that our soldiers and the civilians in the area could be safe.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service in the
you.
Army. I appreciate that for sure, and I'm sure our listeners do too. So you're out there. Tell us about the military experience, being there in Iraq. What year would that have been?
So I was in Iraq from 2008 to 2009.
Oh, wow.
It was leaving there. I was homesick. Another cool fact about my deployment was my brother was over there with me.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I actually joined the military because he was my best friend. And I chose MOS that he was a mechanic. So I was like, the first thing I could think of was like, well, I'm going to be a fueler. I had no background. Like I was going to be a medic. Like I was always wanted to be like a nurse or something. Yeah. So I went in as a petroleum supply specialist. And while I was in training, I actually signed up to be part of, to go to airborne school. So while I was waiting for my spot to open up, my brother got deployed.
Wow.
So I pulled my packet and I wanted to see him before he left just in case something happened. Yeah. And they ended up stationing me at Fort Campbell, which was a blessing. Go Hunter first. Anyways, when I got overseas, my brother was at a cob and his actual headquarters was stationed I was on Camp Victory and his headquarters was on Camp Liberty and you could drive to it, right?
Oh, my lands.
Yeah. So once I got overseas and found that out, I reached out and his headquarters moved him back to Camp Liberty. So I got to spend a lot of time with him over there.
I bet that was just fascinating. Here you are in a strange land,
right?
And doing your military duties and upholding all those responsibilities. But there's your brother right there.
Yeah,
right
it was,
beside you.
and he was my little brother, but I always considered him my big brother.
Yeah.
And he would torment me while we were over there. He's chased me with a scorpion. He had no fears, none.
Oh my gosh. Well, that sounds pretty awesome. So what inspired you to start Confetti and Lace? Is this your first business?
Yes.
All right. What inspired you?
So I'm a mom, and one of my first experiences was a baby shower, So then the first birthday, Pinterest came around, and I got so excited and went into all the details of Ryder's first birthday. And then every birthday after that or event got even more detailed. And I'm a perfectionist, and I want it to be as detailed as possible. I love being creative. And so Ryder's 13, so I have about 14 years of experience, and everybody used to tell me, you need to get into party planning. You need to get into party planning. And finally, 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time. I'm so passionate about it that I wanted to, help other moms, because it's so stressful. And so at the time when I looked, I took like an elevated view and saw that there's so many amazing party planners in the area. And I wanted to dabble my feet into it, but I didn't want to take from anybody else's business. So I saw that there was a need for tents. And so after probably about 7 months of research and going back and forth on what I wanted to do, I saw some tents that were draped out. And I fell in love with that aesthetic. So I was like, all right, this is it. This is it. And so I ended up purchasing my first 2 High Peak Festival tents and some chairs and tables. And I was like, we just got to get a name. So I named her Confetti and Lace. I wanted to, I'm so fun, and creative. I wanted to have like a playful spin to it, but I also wanted the name to have that elegance to it as well. So that's why I went with the lace as well. So it fits me to a T. I can, play on both fields.
Yeah, confetti and lace. I love it. All right, that's amazing. So, first of all, I guess the question is, do you do this full time?
I do not do it full time. That is my goal.
Yes.
Obviously, the spring and summer months are really busy.
You have a really peak season.
Yeah. Essentially, I'd like to be full time doing it, but then I also drive school bus.
Yeah, from Mon County.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I absolutely love it. I started last February, so I don't want to leave that, but I get like the perfect little time in between my routes or whatever.
That's great.
So yeah.
Now, do you drive in your stomping grounds, out of Core?
Yeah. Actually, it was such a blessing because I kind of drug my feet. Like I had my CDLs when I was in the Army, hazmat tankers. So I know how to drive.
Amazing.
I've been driving truck and trailers and all that stuff for a good bit of time.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but I didn't want to drive kids in the winter. Like I worry about my kids,
Yeah.
So I drug my feet, and actually the route that I ended up getting, it had been up for bid for a while, and I came in and it was open. My kids' bus, because they go to Mason-Dixon, it actually meets with my route. So my kids get to go to school with me, and they love riding the school bus. They absolutely love it.
That's
made
super
many
cool.
new friends.
And
so,
it works out perfect for your business too.
Yeah, because I have the
really
summers
cool.
off.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the tents, tables, and chairs. I think that's amazing. If you had an opportunity to meet somebody for the first time and they say, Stephanie, tell me about your business, what do you tell them in 30 seconds? What's your 30-second pitch?
Whew. It's my personality. So my 30-second pitch would be, I provide premium quality tents, tables, and chairs. But the biggest thing about me is my customer service. From the time you engage with me, you've got my full attention. I will make sure every detail that you any part of your event that you have, if I see that there's a detail that you might be missing from the get-go, I'll go ahead and step in and say, have you thought about this? Like your location, is there anything else you need? Once you've got me on the phone, even if you haven't hired me, I'm all yours. I'm open.
That's great. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back. Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Voted best in Mountaineer Country for their reliable, high-speed fiber internet for a low cost, Breezeline is the best gig in town. Here at Interaction Media, we rely on high-speed internet every single day to ensure we can deliver the best content possible for our clients and when we publish Positively West Virginia each week. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, fast, and they're great people as well. Learn more about Breezeline's internet, TV, and mobile options at breezeline.com. Folks, we're visiting with Stephanie Lawson. She's the owner of Confetti and Lace, and they do premium tents, tables, and chairs, and other things for events in North Central West Virginia. Stephanie, what would you say is the thing you're most excited about for Confetti and Lace right now?
I'm excited for Confetti and Lace's growth and
Mm.
being able, the outreach, the community, and just being able to be a part of it. The event, every event that, a client comes to me, it's special to them. And
Mm.
if I can sprinkle a little bit more happiness into their lives, that's what I'm excited for. That's why I started Confetti and Lace, was to make other people happy. So,
Yeah.
and, do what I love.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. So what's the geography that you serve? In other words, where are your customers? Is it
Yeah.
North Central West Virginia? Is it
Yeah.
Morgantown? Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
So I service the Morgantown area. I do travel. I've done an intimate wedding reception up in Deep Creek, Maryland. It was absolutely beautiful. I did a bridal shower down in Philippi. So I'm wherever the need is, I'm willing to go as long as it's feasible within my schedule.
Yeah, that's great. You've been doing this a couple of years. What's the
Yeah.
most interesting event that you've put together?
Oh gosh.
Does anything come to mind?
So I had a beautiful backyard wedding this past fall, and she utilized every piece of my inventory. And it was, when I got there, it was so interesting because it's, those tents are big, they're they're a lot of work, and her family just stepped in and helped me in every manner. And that's another part of this business that I absolutely adore, is I get to meet their families and be a part of it. But she had it all draped out. She had the dance floor, a beautiful little cottage house in the background, and they had what was it, a chestnut tree. So that's the funny thing, is that chestnut tree was right over the dance floor. And I don't know if you know what chestnut, how
Yeah.
they look when they come
Yeah.
off the tree. They're real spiky.
Yeah.
Right. They're dangerous. So they had a cute little bet on who would get hit with the chestnut or who would step on it.
That's very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. So how long have you been in business now? A couple of years?
Yes.
Okay.
So September of 22.
How do you get the word out there? How do you, build a customer base?
Right now, the past couple of years have really been going off of word of mouth.
Mhm.
And then I have a website in Google. So
Yeah.
Google, but word of mouth has been my biggest seller right now. 'Cause-
Referrals,
yeah,
basically. Yeah. And that's, I think that's a good point that I think a lot of times gets missed,
Yeah.
because I own a marketing agency, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
We market. We always say, word of mouth starts somewhere.
Yes.
But word of mouth is very powerful, and it only works though if you do a good job,
Yes.
right? Because the word doesn't spread like wildfire if it's good necessarily, but if it's bad, it goes viral quick. So, yeah. So I appreciate you mentioning that, because I think that is a very important thing. Right now, here we are in 2025, and you're thinking about your business. What's the biggest challenge you face in terms of growing your business right now?
Logistics is hard.
Mhm.
And then the cost of everything just keeps going up. So for a small business like myself, the cost of chairs, tables, and then the huge cost of tents is out of this world. And it's hard. That's probably the hardest part, but I think that's what
Mhm.
everybody's kind of experiencing.
Yeah,
the
it's
cost.
it's an investment that you have to make,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Capital
Mhm.
purchased for the equipment, and then there's probably wear and tear. You got to make
Mhm.
sure that you're cleaning it and keeping it
Mhm.
up.
Storage.
Storage,
Just
yeah.
a lot of storage.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the vision that you have for Confetti and Lace long term? What's that look like?
So my long-term vision would be, captivating Morgantown and the surrounding area, and in a way that Confetti and Lace is, the main provider. And then I also, I want to use Confetti and Lace as a platform to advocate for special causes to my heart.
Yeah.
So servicing the community.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm a domestic violence survivor. And one of the causes that I'm working with right now is RDVIC. And I'm actually working on a collection area for donations to their shelter. I've had to use their services
yeah.
quite frequently.
That's the Rape and Domestic Violence
Yes,
Center
yes.
here in Montague County.
Yes. And so they're website. They have their wish list on it and all that stuff. So I'm currently working with them. And then I have a memorial ride that I'm going to set up for this summer in honor of my father, who was my backbone.
Yeah.
And
when you say a ride, is that a motorcycle ride?
yes,
or?
yes,
Okay.
he was an avid Harley
Okay.
rider, and he passed away this summer.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the I'm all about service. Military, Mon County Transportation, my business. Those are my passions.
Yeah,
So
community service.
So if I can help a cause, then
why is that important? Like in the world today, why is service back to the community important, do you think?
I think we've kind of got away from it in a lot of ways. It's such a hustle and bustle, you're just focused on living your life that we lose sight of actual people that are in need, and then it takes people like us that are can identify the need and speak on it and bring awareness to that. And that's when you capture people. You're like, because there's such a personal touch to everything, so that's what I want. That's ultimately, if Confetti and Lace's name can be attached with a specific cause or multiple causes, that would mean so much more to me than anything,
Well, I think it's a good opportunity to point out that you're also a member of the Morgantown Rotary Club, and Rotary's motto is service above self. And I always loved that motto because it speaks to humility, and I think we need a little bit more humility in the world today. People just to be have that humble heart and humble spirit, because when you have that, then you have empathy and you can see what another person's going through, and so thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Obviously, Stephanie, you're a military veteran. Again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You're a leader in the community. You're leading these children around on a school bus every morning, and every afternoon you are leading your company. Even though it's small, it's growing, and you're starting to thrive really well. What do you think is the most important attribute of a successful business leader today?
I think when you're in the service industry, it all ties back to the client and making sure that you take care of them from start to finish, and even afterwards,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's very important. We just talked about service. But customer
it's all about
service. But customer service is extremely important in business, and how do you differentiate yourself? I think, you were talking about how once a person connects with you, you're all in, and I think that's a good example of service, being all in with your customer and making sure that their experience is a good one.
Yes.
Positive. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Stephanie Lawson. She is the owner of Confetti and Lace here in West Virginia. Stephanie, you ventured out. You gave your story of how you started this business, and you kind of saw a need, right? That existed in the marketplace. I always love that because I say, fall in love with the problem first, and then your solution will take care of itself, right? But what would be a piece of advice you would give to somebody, maybe, coming back from the military or just being here in West Virginia and they're thinking about starting a business? What would you tell them?
Whew, that's a packed one. So in the military, you're so used to a structure. You hate it at the time, but then you get conditioned to it. So returning to being a civilian is probably one of the biggest adjustments I've ever had to face. And I miss it with every ounce of me, but I'm thankful for where it's led me in my life and all the lessons that I've gained from it, and experiences mostly. So veteran that is coming back from the military, I highly suggest making sure that they are prepared for the change. It's so drastic because now you got to be like your own adult. You know what I mean? You don't have like these, brass, sergeants, what have
ranks.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a sergeant, so and I had my staff sergeants and all that. They guide you, they lead you, and that you have such a brotherhood. Everybody's looking out for you, they make sure you keep your dentist appointments, you can't miss that, so it's like they coddle you in the most extreme way.
No, it's great.
And so I think like the structure is a big thing because it's hard going from, a military workday to a civilian workday. So I guess the other thing would be to ensure that you have a job lined up, utilize the time off, the leave that they give you as an opportunity to come to the area that you're going to be moving to and, scope out everything.
Look at your opportunities, huh?
Yes.
Well, that's very good wisdom, and I appreciate you sharing that. As you're talking, I can't help but ask, have you tapped into some of the resources that exist for veteran-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, et cetera?
So one of the Rotary members, my sponsor, he was a brigadier general. I met him at the gym. I struggled with the VA and the in this time span of being out, just because I came out while I was pregnant and I was focused on my family. So I wasn't able to put the focus towards me. So by the time that happened, so much time had already passed. So I really struggled with the VA. Anyways, the new administration that's in place, I am actually working on getting all of my veteran affairs business situated through a Rotary member.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm so thankful for the Rotary.
Yeah, that's great. I think because there's a lot of resources that exist to help.
Yes.
Talk about the growth that you want to have. I mean, you don't have to go it alone. And I try to point folks to resources like that through the Small Business Administration or the Small Business Development Center, SBDC here in West Virginia, or other things like, networks and other veterans.
Networking's big. It's been a huge player in my life. And, that's the goal is once I get my veteran affairs situated, I will be put into the VA for any businesses that, they'll choose my business because I'm associated with the veterans.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I encourage you to keep going with that because I think me personally, when I hear there's a veteran-owned business, I want to support that.
Yes,
my dad was an Army vet.
Oh, really?
Also,
I love it.
So I can definitely relate to that. Stephanie, we've covered a lot in this interview. Is there anything else? And you've shared a lot, and I appreciate that. Is there anything else you think our listeners would know or should know about your story or about Confetti and Lace that we haven't already covered?
I would say for becoming a new business owner, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. If it's something that you're passionate about, just do it. Just run. Don't be scared. It is terrifying. You don't, the investment, the time. I struggled with taking that leap of faith, and it was the best thing I've ever done. I struggled with getting on going to the military. It was the best thing I ever done. Struggled doing school bus. I didn't want to drive in the winter with kids. It was the best thing I've ever done. So I think that especially veterans specifically, I think that coming out of the military, having a job, but being able to utilize the resources that are available, and not letting that there's so many resources, and I failed to put me first, and I think that looking back, hindsight 50/50, looking back, I wish that I would have taken my passions more seriously and the necessity for my VA benefits more serious instead of letting it go to the side,
Yeah, but you're doing it now.
Yes,
and that's the important thing.
Timing's everything.
Yeah, you're taking you're taking this season. I see it from just our discussion. You're taking this season to really work on you.
Yeah.
And now you've got this business. It's about it's already thriving, but it's about to blow up, and you're growing, and you're doing a lot of really cool things. So thank you for sharing all that.
Thank
I know
you.
it's sometimes tough to be vulnerable and talk about yourself like that. So thank you for doing that. Stephanie, as we close out our time today, how can our folks listen or who are listening and viewing this today learn more about Confetti and Lace and perhaps even get in touch with you?
Okay. So you can Google me. It's Confetti and Lace Event Rentals.com. And then I also have a Facebook page, Confetti and Lace Event Rentals. And then my phone number is 804-536-0781.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure we have that in the show notes.
Yes,
We'll
thank
put
you.
that on social media and hopefully get you more customers
Yeah,
and
I'm
more
excited.
business. If you guys are needing those events for large tents, what is the official word for that?
It's a high peak festival tent.
High
so
peak
it's
festival
the
tent.
fancy
Yeah.
one. It's the pretty one with
Beautiful.
the flag on the top. Yeah,
that's great. Or tables, chairs, the whole nine.
We drape 'em
you got
out
them
and
covered. So
everything. Yes, sir.
I think that's really great. Our guest once again is Stephanie Lawson. She's with Confetti and Lace here in West Virginia. Stephanie, it's been an honor to have you to learn about your story, your business story, and your personal journey. And I really appreciate that. I think what you're doing is really cool. And I just want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
I appreciate that. It was a pleasure being here today.
Yeah, absolutely. The pleasure was mine. Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on our podcast, drop us a line on our website at positivelywv.com. And of course, we appreciate your encouragement, your comments, sharing these episodes on your social media to get the word out about companies like Stephanie Lawson and Confetti and Lace. That's very much appreciated as well. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today behind the controls, Mr. Jimmy Murray, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, Interaction Media, Storymaker, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positivelywv.com/sponsor.